Whether new shooter, longtime gun owner, or even police officer or soldier, your handgun needs a Crimson Trace laser sight or light. Get the confidence and reliability you need to protect family, home, and country. Crimson Trace.
Broadcasting nationwide, this is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. Your views, advice, and questions are the driving force of gun talk. Call Tom now at 866-TALK-GUN. That's 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Or reach out to us via email at tom@guntalk.com. Let us know what you think about the gun-related issues of the day. Now, here's Tom Gresham.
All right, we are talking about this big raid out in California, and it has a lot of people stirred up, and I think rightly so. We've been running around trying to get a handle on it because it just happened yesterday, and it's quite the story. It's breaking, it's evolving. We're learning more as the hours go by, and I wanted to get somebody in here from California who actually knew what was going on and has a reasonable, sensible take on it. It doesn't fly off the handle. I couldn't find that one, so I got Gene Hoffman from the CalGuns Foundation. Gene, I'm messing with you, though.
Thanks, Tom.
Honestly, this one is more disturbing than... I've always been disturbed by a lot of the ATF's actions, but this one, gathering up the customer names, is quite ominous. Don't you
Absolutely.
think?
It plays on, I think, everyone's rightful fear about federal registration in ways that aren't necessarily legal. Now, the flip side of this entire argument is, are these parts firearms or not? And ATF has not been, shall we say, the most clear on what is and what isn't a firearm. So that's actually kind of the heart of the debate right now.
Well, traditionally, they've always liked that fuzzy line because they can get you walking through the line. For many years, we would ask, well, what constitutes being a dealer in firearms? How many guns do I have to sell to be a dealer and have to have a dealer's license? They say, well, we don't know. Just sell a bunch of them, and we'll let you know if you're over the line.
Yeah, and this is the problem. We're dealing with a fundamental right. You need to have clear lines on how you regulate that right. And what's going on here, the truth of the matter is, of course, that these are going to be turned into firearms, but there's nothing illegal about that. It is completely within your rights to take, parts and things that aren't fully built, and at home, on your own, build them, as long as you're not doing that for sale. Back to your point about, how many guns do I have to sell before I become an FFL? So, ATF being intentionally vague, potentially going against all of their letter rulings about what is and what is not an AR-15 lower, very problematic.
So give people the overview of what happened yesterday.
Well, there are two entities here. There's EP Lowers and there's Aries. EP Lowers is an 07 manufacturing FFL that also makes 80% receivers. One of their primary retail distribution sites is Aries. EP went in and said, look, we want a temporary restraining order. We don't want to turn these records over because, frankly, they're none of the ATF's business. If these aren't firearms, and we believe they're not, and ATF has said in many cases they aren't, then, this is like ATF asking for records of all the slings sold. It's none of the ATF's business. They don't have any regulatory control over that. ATF seems to apparently have been able to convince the judge that they think they are firearms, and therefore these are records of illegal firearms transactions. The concern, if you're an end buyer here in California, is, it's unclear whether the ATF is going to go out and get either search warrants or, short of that, knock and talk. And this is where Californians really need to understand how and what rights they have and how to use those rights.
Well, and not just California, because a lot of these were sold a mail order to people all around the country.
That's correct. The issue simply being that if you bought one of these, you thought you were buying an 80% or less lower. You may have built a firearm, which is completely within your rights. The issue gets to be that the ATF would like to take the position that you were a participant in an illegal transaction. So, look, if law enforcement, and it's going to be potentially ATF, it may also be your local sheriff or your local chief, or your local municipal police department, because they often work in joint state federal task force, come to your door. If they don't have a warrant, don't let them in. Exercise your right to remain silent. You need to be cordial with these folks, but, they don't get to come inside without a warrant. If they do have a warrant, you only want to let them see exactly what the warrant requires. If the warrant doesn't give them access to things like safes, don't open them. A lot of people sit there and kind of fall for what are the threats of, well, we'll cut it open. And, I like to remind people that a cut open safe is a really strong piece of evidence that they didn't have your authority to enter and look at that.
So, and I know what happens is people are used to, particularly if you're law-abiding, you have no experience dealing with law enforcement in an adversarial situation, and you want to convince them that you are the good guy, and you want to say, hey, I didn't do anything, and you want to start explaining, and you can explain yourself right into jail.
That's right. I mean, most people talk themselves into jail is the reality of this. Again, because they don't have a lot of experience dealing with, frankly, law enforcement who's out to, make their case, not to protect you.
So, okay, they come to the door, they knock on the door, we're ATF, we want to talk with you. What's your next thing you say?
So let's step outside. Don't let them in the house, period. Right? If they have a warrant, one of the classic lines is, well, we could get a warrant. And the answer is, well, okay, feel free. Give me a call. Here's my number. At that point, you need to call a lawyer. As soon as you've had that initial contact, you need to call a lawyer. If you're in California, you go to the CalGuns Foundation.org website. You fill out the, hotline information, and we'll get back to you to help figure out who that counsel is going to be. The other thing that's important here, if you are worried about this, what usually happens in these things over the last 30 or 40 years is that the actual thing that ATF or in California DOJ goes after ends up falling apart. But a bunch of gun owners got inspected, and they had stuff they shouldn't have. Here in California, it's really easy to do. You can have the wrong type of throwing star, and that's a felony in California. So if you have a risk here, if you are worried, you really need to take a quick assessment and make sure that the things that are in your gun safe are all legit and legal. All the stuff that you have around your house, you don't want to have a bunch of marijuana plants in the back room.
Right. It's if there's anything in your house that shouldn't be there, then get it out of there, which is probably a good way to spring cleaning anyway.
That's right. And look, it's an important thing to do anyway, especially in California, because again, what usually trips up gun owners in California are these ancillary things. It's not the actual original investigation.
And the other thing is, I was reading what the CalGuns Foundation, what you put up, when you are speaking specifically to a federal agent, law enforcement agent, it is a crime not only to lie, but to make what they characterize as misleading statements to them.
That's right. Look, this is the Martha Stewart rule. People do not necessarily understand that Martha Stewart was never actually found guilty of insider trading. What she was found guilty of was supposedly misleading and or lying to the federal agents involved. So if a federal agent is actually involved with this, your response should be, look, especially after the Martha Stewart situation, I have to have my lawyer call you. I can't talk to you. I'd love to help you, but I can't because of the way the law stands today.
And you say, thank you very much. And, and if they say, well, we're going to come in anyway, then you don't try to stop them.
That's right.
I mean, do not interfere, but just say, just to be clear, I am not giving you permission to come into my home.
That's correct. And look, this is the key, polite but firm. Don't get in their way. Document it, to the extent you have other people there as witnesses. The other thing is, wives, husbands, have a communication with the people you live with. If an ATF or sheriff or policeman comes to the door and you're not there, that they need to say under no uncertain terms, can they come in and look?
Right. Just say, no, I'm not allowed. I can't let you do that. Yep. And if they say, well, we're going to get a warrant, thank you very much.
Great.
Here's my number.
Certainly. Exactly. If you come back with a warrant, we'll happily, let you execute that warrant. But, without a warrant, we're not interested in helping. Thanks.
I am reminded, Gene, do you remember way back the so-called D.C. sniper case?
Yes.
Had a friend there. He called me one night, badly shaken. He said the police had come to his door at 11 o'clock at night, beating on his back door, scared his wife to death because they had gone through the records at the gun stores, and they were going to the home of everybody who had bought a rifle chambered for .223, and they were saying, we want to take your gun because we'll go test it. That'll prove that you're not the guy. And he said, what should I do? I said, by all no means do you ever let them take your gun, because once it's out of your control, you don't know what's going to happen and what they're going to come back and say they found.
That's right. And, you don't necessarily know all the details about what's going on inside your firearm, what they know, what they think. The answer is that if they can convince a third-party judge that they have the right to seize that, they would have, and they will. And you'd rather have that. This is something people miss about what warrants do. If a police officer goes to a judge and says, I want this warrant because of theory X, and he gets that warrant, and he seizes your firearm. But then he decides that it's really theory Y, and he tries to use your firearm against you in some other way, well, there's now a record that he's changed what he's after you about. And it changes whether or not that search was valid. Look, this is how you stay out of trouble and why it's so important to have a warrant.
So where's CalGuns Foundation? Are you doing anything on this particular case?
Look, this is a quickly moving set of issues. We are weighing how we're going to be involved. We are very concerned about two things. We are concerned about the privacy of these records, because if these are not firearms, this is absolutely outside of ATF's jurisdiction. It is illegal under all sorts of personal privacy theories. We're also certainly worried about the definition of firearm. This has been at least somewhat less vague, and it appears the ATF wishes to make it much more vague than it had been, because it is completely legal for people to build firearms at home. It is a pretty standard hobby here in California. And, look, it's still illegal for someone who's prohibited to build a firearm at home.
Sure.
So we're not talking about changing things. And after January 1st of this year, if you build a rifle at home, you actually have to voluntarily register it. So you're actually going through and becoming a background check, period, in California. So, look, exactly how that will happen, still to be determined, but we are in the middle of this, and we're going to make sure that individual rights are protected here.
One thing to maybe have available when you're talking to the media and they're not quite getting the import of this, I came up with this idea. I said, imagine how the media would react if, of course, the federal government doesn't recognize the decriminalization of marijuana in Colorado. So what if the feds came in and started raiding all of the pot shops in Colorado and getting the customer list and then going door to door and doing searches? Then the media would have a complete hissy fit.
Well, I put this into the category of churches or synagogues. Could you imagine if a federal agency raided a synagogue and got everybody's address and started visiting them at their doors?
Oh, yeah. Excellent point. Great way to put that. Gene, if you would, please keep us posted on what's going on out there. We all are following this one because this impacts every gun owner in America. Will do, Tom. Thank you. All right. Thank you. All right. 866-TALK-GUNS. I know at this point your head is spinning and you're going, holy CR, you know what? What's going on out there? What's your reaction to this? How does it make you feel about your government, about the ATF, about being a gun owner? Do you worry about them coming to your door? 866-TALK-GUN.
A great trigger can make you a better shooter. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. Installation is easy. Give yourself the Timney Trigger advantage. To see more and order online, go to timneytriggers.com. That's TIMNEY triggers.com.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
The .45 Auto, also known as the 1911, is the standard other defensive pistols are measured against. No matter what pistol you carry, techniques developed around the 1911 are vital. You know you need training, and you know your concealed carry class definitely was not training. Now Gun Talk presents an exciting DVD, Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. Tiger's unique training style will have you drawing, moving, shooting, and running your gun better, no matter what style pistol you prefer. At ShopGunTalk.com, you can order our DVDs of Tiger's instruction. ShopGunTalk.com also has a 2-DVD set, including Concealed Carry 1. Get both for the information you know you need. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com has DVDs, books, and other essential gear. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
Inaccurate is just plain worthless. Doesn't matter if you're shooting for a national championship or just trying to beat your friend, you need accurate ammo. Nosler's match-grade handgun ammunition delivers. You get Nosler sporting handgun and custom competition bullets in Nosler head-stamped brass, loaded to the same strict tolerances as Nosler's match-grade rifle ammo. Handgun accuracy through match-grade ammo. Available in 9mm, 40, and 45. Visit Nosler.com.
Thanks for being one of the 100 million gun owners in America who support Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. Even if you don't want to be on the air, you can still email Tom with your questions or concerns at tom@guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk.
Is there any wonder that the majority of people in Connecticut refuse to register their semi-automatic modern sporting rifles when required to do so? So much for the platitudes of those who say, well, we don't want to take your guns away. We just want to know who has them. And why, pray tell, would you want to know who has them? Why would the ATF go grab the customer records from Aries Armor? So they can know who has them, so they can go give them, they'll pay them a little visit. Maybe wearing Nomex and Kevlar. Oh, line 4, Tim's with us, Lakeside, Oregon. Hello, Tim.
Thank you. Got a question.
Mm-hmm.
The receiver is ultimately going to become part of a gun, right?
That is correct.
Okay. My thought on this is all my photography lenses and cameras have serial numbers. Certain auto parts and tools have serial numbers. Mm-hmm. Could all of this have been prevented if the manufacturer simply would have put a serial number on it?
Well, of course, the very reason that people were buying these is that they didn't have a serial number on them. People wanted to have these without serial numbers on them. That's the reason you buy an 80% receiver, is so that you can have a firearm, you can make it yourself. It is perfectly legal to make your own firearm, and you do not have to put a serial number on it. Perfectly legal. And the ATF had said, okay, these are not actually receivers. These are just parts because they haven't been completed. And so you buy the part, and then you have to do some of the work to end up making it a receiver. And by doing that, you now can make your own rifle, in this case, that does not have to have a serial number. But yes, to your point, certainly if that had serial numbers on them, then they would have had to been sold through federally licensed dealers. There'd be records on them. And that's what people are trying to get away from because, particularly in California, they know how the government is there, and they know that eventually they're going to come door to door and take them away. This is not an if, it's a when. So that's why they were buying these and making their own rifles without serial numbers on them. The idea was, of course, that this way there won't be any record of them, except that when you buy from this place, now there's a record on it. Now, anybody that, for instance, had gone to a gun show and bought them and paid cash and didn't exchange any information, they would have it without any record of it. But that's the core. I mean, you have just landed on the core issue of this. These receivers don't have serial numbers on them. They were parts. They were going to be made into receivers. The ATF said that's okay, and now they're coming back and saying, no, actually, on second thought, it looks to us like maybe these are a little bit more than 80%, because that's the dividing line. Therefore, they should have been serialized, even though we told you before they didn't have to be. So that's what's going on. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. Don's in Medford, Oregon, on line 2. Don, thanks for your patience.
Hey, it's good to hear your voice. Thanks for everything you do, Tom.
Thank you.
I was listening to another podcast on guns with Doc Wesson and Grant Cunningham. And Grant Cunningham mentioned that the most fun you could have with a 1911 was to connect it to a MechTech receiver. So I got online and started looking at it, and what it turns out to be is a carbine conversion unit. You can do it with the 1911, but it also works with Glocks. You can buy a Glock in, say, 9mm,
right,
and remove the slide and barrel and with a connecting block, attach it to the MECTEC 2000, and you now have a semi-automatic carbine that takes not only 9mm cartridge, but the same magazine as your sidearm.
Right. I mean, I'm familiar with it. I look at it, and it's like $1,400 or something for the conversion.
No, the conversion unit's about $350.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, $350, $400, and then if you buy a pair of Glocks, so you always have a side, because I don't own a Glock because I never liked them much, but all of a sudden they're attractive to me. Because
well, look, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's an interesting thing to do. You're going to end up with a carbine, a 9mm or whatever caliber carbine that's based on a Glock. Kind of a cool, fun thing to do. It doesn't wind my clock very much, but that's why we have so many different models. There are some guns that I just wouldn't own and that people love, and vice versa. Some that I am crazy about, and other people go, well, I don't get that. Isn't it lovely to have all these choices? But anyway, Don, I mean, if you like it, go for it, okay? I appreciate the call. Excuse me. Let's see here. Leonard's on line 3 out of Missouri. Leonard, this is an interesting question, huh?
Yes, sir. While you was speaking with Jay there in California, I forget who made the statement that says, don't let them take your guns, don't let them take your firearms.
No. Listen more carefully. What we said was, do not agree to a search. Don't let them in your house if they ask. But if they are going to take your guns, get out of the way. Do not ever, ever, ever try to stop them. If they say, we're going to take your guns, you just say, I am not submitting to a search. I am not agreeing to a search. And if they say, we're going to do it anyway, then step aside, because you do not. No, please, people, listen carefully. We never said don't prevent them from taking your guns. We just said don't open the door and let them come in your house. If they say we got a search warrant, we're coming in, open the door, step aside. But then again, read the search warrant and see where they are allowed to go and only let them into those places. But no, you don't ever try to block a police officer from confiscating something. That's going to get you in handcuffs.
Tom Gresham's Gun Talk is broadcast nationwide every Sunday. If you can't hear Gun Talk where you live, call your local talk format station and clue them in on Gun Talk. Stay tuned. We're coming right back. Now broadcasting nationwide on radio, via satellite, and through downloads, iTunes, the Gun Talk app, and other podcast clients. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All right, back with you here. Going straight to the phones. Line 1, Jerry is in Rudy, Arkansas. Jerry, what is your take on this whole ATF raid?
I think all they're trying to do, sir, is to poke enough people in the chest to get somebody to do something stupid. It's just kind of a statistical thing.
You mean somebody who would basically push back, shoot back, so that they would then have a reason to really come after us with force? Right,
correct, sir. Yes, sir.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, come on, this is the ATF. And for those who are, and thank you, Jerry, appreciate that. There are those who come into this thinking, you guys are really overreacting to all this. I wish I could give you the full story of the history of all the ATF raids. You might look up Kenyon Ballou, guy who got shot when they were beating in the door. He reached for a gun thinking it was being a home invasion. They shot him. Ruby Ridge, they machine gunned a 14-year-old boy in the back. This would be the U.S. Marshals. And this was all because they coerced Randy Weaver into cutting a metal tube, shorter than they said he should be able to have, a shotgun barrel. Cut it shorter than the approved 18 inches, and that was their reason for going in, and then ended up issuing shoot on sight, shoot to kill orders. If anybody has a gun, shoot them. Don't try to arrest them, just shoot them. That was the FBI's order. So FBI sniper Lon Horiuchi shot Randy Weaver's wife while she was holding her infant, killed her. When it was all over, the government paid Randy Weaver $3 million. Waco, the government attack on Waco was all about guns. They said he has guns he's not supposed to have. That's why they ended up eventually killing all those people and burning the place down. The reason they gave was he has unlicensed guns. When you start putting all this together, maybe you start to understand the way that we feel, those of us who've been around this a long time, where we say, yes, this is what they do. And every once in a while, we are able to get Congress to rein them in just a smidge, not a lot, but a little bit. And maybe this is the time. If this doesn't make you run out and register to vote, then I will personally send you a slapogram. It will smack you across the face. Because this midterm election is our chance to change at least some things. Line 4, Russell is in Wichita, Kansas. Russell, you got some solutions to this copper fouling problem this caller had?
Yes, I sure do. Please tell them to use JB Boar paste. That stuff really works. And as you probably know, it's used by bench rest shooters, and they're the finest in the world. These guys know what they're doing when it comes to taking care of a rifle bore.
And you can get it over at Brownells, brownells.com, JB Boar paste. It is, and it lasts forever. I mean, a little bit of that stuff goes a long way, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And the crazy thing about it is that if an inexperienced person doesn't know what they're doing, they think, oh, this is going to lap your bore completely out, but it doesn't. Because there are a lot of people who will, and I'm talking about sniper-grade shooters, who will use this stuff to run through a brand-new bore. And they will run it through just to kind of smooth things out. And that's exactly what it does.
Lapping the barrel. Yeah, and if you lap the barrel when you first get it, you can actually make it where it will be easier to clean for the entire life of the barrel if you take care of it and do some bore lapping, which is all JB paste is. It's an abrasive paste. It's a non-embedding bore cleaner. And that's the main part. It doesn't stick into the pores or the pores of the steel. But yeah, JB bore cleaner is something that every serious rifle shooter ought to have because, I mean, you get one little 2-ounce $11 container of this stuff, and it'll last you the next 20 years. So, excellent idea. Thank you for bringing that up. Appreciate that, Russell. Mike is on too. He is in California. Hey, Mike, are you out in the middle of all this?
I'm listening to it, but I haven't gotten into it yet.
Okay. Well, so you got an idea on lever action 45 Colt?
Yes, sir. Quick perusal shows Beretta, Cimarron, Marlin, Henry, Rossi, and Uberti. There's probably more.
Outstanding. Now, do you happen to have one of those?
I don't yet. I have the smaller Henrys, but I don't have that one yet.
I like that. That is the correct answer. I don't yet. This. Are you a lever action fan?
I am. I'm old school. I have semi-automatic revolvers, but I'm into lever actions and revolvers.
Outstanding. And while we were doing a little searching about that, one of the guys in the studio came up with the 1887 shotgun, lever action shotgun, which is pretty cool too. So you could actually get a 12-gauge lever action shotgun. J&G Sales has that one for sale. So pretty cool stuff. Thank you for your call, sir. I appreciate that. Line 3, Kevin's got some more help for us. He's out of Kansas. Hey, Kevin, help me out here.
Hey, with the Model 39, I had a 39D that I cut my teeth on when I was a kid, and after a few thousand rounds, it started giving some feeding problems, even after being cleaned. Being a takedown, I went ahead and took it apart and found that the spring that runs the little catch that only lets one bullet through at a time when you're loading it was weak and had some crud behind it. Cleaned that up. Then we cleaned the inside of the tubular magazine and got a lot of gunk out of that. And once the follower was putting the right pressure on the ammo coming out, I fed just fine.
Okay. Well, that's helpful. Yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you, sir. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. We are open lines. What's on your mind? Give me a shout. You can shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com. And don't forget, go to guntalk.com/win and enter for a chance to win the very cool Console Vault giveaway. Giving away 2 prizes at the end of the month where you get to pick anything that they make. So go to guntalk.com/win. If you're looking for a safe and trusted way to sell your firearms, look no further than Dury's Gun Shop. I trusted them to sell my dad's collection. They built their business for over 50 years on honesty and customer service. Dury's Guns will buy any size collection or estate, none too big or too small. Selling your firearms to Dury's Guns is easy. Go with the pros. I trust Dury's Guns. DurysGuns.com. Hi, I'm Tom Gresham. For more than 40 years, I've been watching an environmental disaster in my backyard, and it actually impacts all sportsmen in America. I'm talking about the massive loss of land on the Louisiana coastline. The U.S. Geological Survey said the swamps and marshes of coastal Louisiana are among the nation's most fragile and valuable wetlands. That land is disappearing. The Mississippi River Delta hosts as many as 10 million ducks and geese every winter. These are birds which migrate northward through the states, all the way to Canada. The wetlands of the Delta support some of America's best fresh and saltwater fishing. And here's the deal. The wetlands of the Mississippi River Delta are disappearing at a rate of 1 football field every hour. 1 football field every hour. Gone. We can reconnect the river with its wetlands and restore the Delta, but we need your help. Please visit vanishingparadise.org. That's vanishingparadise.org.
There's a rise in home invasions in America, and you need to be ready. Ready to protect yourself and your family. The Bedside Backup from Crossbreed Holsters keeps your gun at your bedside, ready to go. It also folds flat for easy storage and travel. Take it with you and use with any hotel bed. To see more, go to crossbreedholsters.com. That's crossbreedholsters.com. The Bedside Backup is not a child safety device.
It's great to make something with your own hands. When you reload, the whole family can get involved, including breaking more targets and bagging more birds. Mech reloaders have been the center of family activities for generations. Plus, you can save money and stock up, even when there's nothing in the stores. 10, 12, 16, 20, 28, and 410. Any gauge. Get started reloading. Visit mechreloaders.com. That's MECreloaders.com.
You may be a new shooter, a longtime gun owner, or even a police officer or soldier. No personal defense handgun is fully equipped without a Crimson Trace laser sight or light. Get the confidence and reliability you need to protect family, home, and country. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our new laser training video, The Laser's Edge, Crimson Trace.
A famous radio consultant once said he'd be off the air in a year. Whoops! Defending your Second Amendment rights since 1995 on over 150 radio stations nationwide. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All right, we're getting a little help from our friends. If you got a comment, question, or you just, you know what, if you just landed here and you say, I hate guns, call me. I'll give you the floor. I would actually like to know why. That's something I've never understood. But, hey, I'll shut up and let you talk. 866-TALK-GUN, 866-825-5486. Just tell them, hey, I hate guns. I want to tell you why. Well, you'll move right up to the front of the line. 4, Matthew's in Metairie, Louisiana. Hello, Matthew.
Hello. Tom, have you ever had a chance to shoot any aluminum-cased ammo?
Yeah, the CCI Blazer ammo. It's been around a long time. I've shot it. Have you had a chance to shoot it yourself?
No, but I was looking in the First Freedom mag, and some European companies selling aluminum-cased ball ammo with, instead of full metal jacket, full nylon jacket. I'm like, wonder what that's like.
It may be that it's nylon over copper, would be my guess. Here's the deal with the aluminum brass or aluminum case ammo. It is less expensive because aluminum's a little less expensive than brass. It is not reloadable. So if you don't reload, it's not an issue. But if you do, then you cannot reload the aluminum cases. Even if you don't reload, if you pick up your brass all the time. You can, after you've gotten a couple thousand rounds of that, you can go sell it to a reloader somewhere. So there is value laying around on the ground all around you when you're shooting brass ammo. But the only thing about Blazer, the aluminum ammo, is it sometimes can be a little sticky in some chambers. So just something to be aware of. But it is certainly a bargain. Now, not to be confused with the steel ammo that's out there, because there's steel-cased ammo also, and that's different. It also, however, is not reloadable, just to let folks know. So appreciate that. Thank you for the call there, Matthew. Jim, line 1, Oak Hill, West Virginia. Hello, Jim.
Did FDR and Reagan pass gun laws that prohibited the registering of guns and gun owners?
I don't know if FDR did. There are actually 2 federal laws that make it illegal for the federal government to register guns and gun owners. That does not prohibit states from requiring gun registration, though. And so that's what happens. The states register it. And then some would say, look, when you do the 4473, you fill out the form at the dealer. That's a form of registration, too. So we could talk about that for a while. And in fact, it was probably, actually, it wasn't Reagan. It was 1994. That was after Reagan. But when the Brady Law, actually, weirdly enough, the Brady Law is one of the laws that prohibits the registration of guns. So anyway, that's what's going on there. Line 2, Brian, Aurora, Missouri. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Tom. I was just calling to ask if you knew anything about, is it legal to record the ATF if they show up at your door? Video record them or audio record them?
Fascinating question. Part of that depends on the state. Some states are one-person states where only one party has to know that recording's taking place. Some states are two-party where you have to notify them you're recording. Some police officers would say that you are hindering them if you're recording, but somebody else certainly could record it. Now, I think it's probably a really smart idea to turn the recorder on your cell phone, even if it's just an audio recorder, slip it in your pocket and just let it run the whole time. So, I mean, I think it's probably not a bad idea at all, okay? Now, there are also some apps you can get that will record video or audio to the cloud so that if your phone got picked up, and this happens more times than you'd believe, the police say, I don't want you recording that. They snatch your phone. You go to get it back from the police department a week later, and everything on it's been deleted. It's gone. I tell you what, if you want more information about recording public officials, police also, there's a website, carlosmiller.com, or same website is actually photographyisnotacrime.com. It will make you mad when you see it because they have video of police officers all over the place breaking the law, telling people it's against the law for you to record when it's not. It's law, but there are some rules about where you can be standing and what you can do. If you want to get into that world, you need to understand what you're getting into and need to know the rules. So there you go. Line 3, Gary's in Reno, Nevada. Hey, Gary.
Hello, Tom, my friend. I've been out of the country and haven't had a chance to listen to you for several months. But last time we talked was in November, and it was about the replica of a Model 88 Winchester 308 lever action.
Yep. I am actually going to shoot that gun this week. I'm not sure if he is ready for me to release the information, but I think within weeks we will have the information. He's got a Model 88. I think he's also going to be producing the Model 100 Winchester semi-auto. That would be fantastic. That was the rifle I used to take my first deer when I was 11 years old with a 308. There you go. Semi-automatic, one of those evil semi-automatic rifles. So as soon as I get the okay, I will release the information about the fellow who is going to be producing the replicas of the Model 88 and the Model 100. I'm excited about that. They were both very neat rifles. 866 Talk Gun. Still got time to get you in.
Join the NRA via Tom Gresham's Gun Talk website and receive $10 off the regular membership price. Log on to guntalk.com for details. You're listening to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. Just because we're wrapping up on the air doesn't mean we're done talking about guns. Stick around for the after show. It's our podcast-only version designed to include all the stuff we simply couldn't fit into a regular show. Call in now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, back to Tom.
Don't forget, if you call in right now, even if we can't get you on the air live right now, you'll make it to the after show, which we're going to continue to do, and then you can download later on. Be sure to check out the after show. Go to guntalk.com/listen to find ways, or you can get it through iTunes and Stitcher and a lot of different ways you can pick that thing up. Let's see here. Oh, yes, line 4, Danny, Louisville, Kentucky. Hey, Danny.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You looking for a suppressor?
Yeah, I was trying to find out what would be the best suppressor for my 5.56, and what's your general idea or thought on suppressors?
Well, I think suppressors are cool. I think, everybody's making them. I tell you who's making really good ones right now is SIG. The folks at Sig Sauer. You might want to take a look at that, but there are a lot of companies making suppressors. So who's making the best one? I don't know. The main thing is just get one. Now, here's a great thought, by the way. Jim says, hey, you could get a 30 caliber suppressor, put it on your 223. It might be a couple of dBs louder, but you could also take it off of that rifle and stick it on a 308 later on. And now it's doing double duty. If you just get one that's for a 22, it won't be able to use that on a 30 caliber, obviously, or at least only once.
Right.
So I would consider getting a 30.
7.76, so that would work on that too.
Yep, there you go. That'll work for you. So anyway, that's what I would do. I would get the 30 cal and go that way. Listen, appreciate the call, Danny. Line 1, Bob, Grand Forks, North Dakota. Hey, Bob, you're looking for a 6.8 bolt action rifle?
Yeah, 6.8 bolt action. I don't know, anybody making them now?
Sure, it's called a 270.
Oh, same thing.
A 6.8 is a 270. Are you looking for specifically the 6.8 SPC cartridge?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think there are some people making it, but honestly, I don't know why you would. Because if you're going to get a bolt action, I'd get a 270. Oh yeah, Ruger makes the little Ruger Model 77 Hawkeye in 6.8 SPC, but you could get a 270 or 270 short Magnum. A lot of variations there. So, but I'm just not sure. It's kind of like getting I get it. You could get a little bolt action in 223. That I understand a little bit more than getting a 6.8. Unless you just said, I just want a really, really small, lightweight rifle. And then you might take a look. I think maybe Remington has chambered it also in the 6.8 SPC. So anyway, take a look, see what you can find out there. Real quickly, Britt on line 2. We got barely a minute, so dive into it, please.
Okay, I got a question. I have a CalTech SU-16 model rifle that the website advertised it as chambered in 5.56. Mine is stamped 223, and I've contacted the company, and they've emailed me, CalTech has, and assured me that they've never made a 223 caliber SU-16, that they were all 5.56. But I was wondering what I should do. I've got a couple 5.56. I was thinking of shooting one or two. Is there something I should look for on the bullet casing to show me that I shouldn't be shooting them?
I would take a picture of the stamping on the rifle and send it to them and say, look, it says 223 on the side. What do you say about that? In the meantime, since they say they're making 5.56, I would probably shoot anything in it and be okay. But they would be interested. If you've got one of their rifles that's stamped 5.56, I bet they would love to see a picture of that one. Listen, I appreciate the call. All right, we're going to move right into the after show. If you'd like to join us for that, call us right now, 866-TALK-GUN. And, hey, you can ask anything you want then because, hey, it's the after show. We're getting a little bit wild and crazy then. In the meantime, make sure you're registered to vote. Join the NRA. Get involved. It's not if they're coming after us. They already are. We all have to be together in this one.